So let's see quickly some of things. I'm just defining a class. I hope you know how to write a class. Sample class. So what will be output for this?
Mm, it will print
Before I ask output, how can I call this statement? When this statement will
sample
execute?
class
Okay.
sample class dot
Dot.
I'm not understanding, like it should be static method name.
But there is no method names, right?
Yeah.
How this will be executed? Obj equal to new sample class. So what I'm doing here, I'm trying to create a constructor, right?
Yeah.
When I'm doing a constructor, what it means? You are loading your class into compiler, right? Next one, you are initiating the memory in heap stack. Sorry,
Okay.
heap or heap or stack. Stack only. Sorry, my bad. So now, what happened? You are loading your class and then you are initiating your memory in stack. Let's see. It executes system.debug1 and debug2.
Okay, both the methods.
Yeah, you got two, right? Let me do one
Okay.
more thing. Obj
Obj.
sample class obj2 equal to new sample class. So now what will be output?
It will be like a two times. It will be
Okay. So the
printed one two one
expectation
two
like 1 2 again
one.
1 2, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see our expectation is the result same actual and outcome. What happened now?
Okay. Next time it is printed only two.
So it means in one transaction, class will load only one time to a stack. Even though you modify, but that class remains in the stack, it will not leave till the transaction completes.
Okay.
Now, the one is inside a static block. This is called a block. So it means you can clearly see that static is not executing once a class is loaded, right?
Yeah.
And this is instance block. Instance block in the sense whenever you create an object, the instance will re-trigger. It means that it takes its own execution time.
Okay. But the static one it executes only once.
Only one time. So why it is so important to understand this concept? If you have a variable in a different class, you made it true, and that class never been called from the other class. Let's say you call 7 different classes or 5 different classes, and there is a variable that you have modified in the first class. But you are thinking that I have not modified in this third class, but again, right, you already set that static memory to something else. So that the something else will come into even if you're in the third class. The reason behind you are in the same transaction.
Okay.
You got it? So ideally you can see this scenario for take an example this way. You have a trigger. Inside trigger we have a trigger handlers, right?
Yeah.
But every inside trigger handler will be calling a different classes again and again, right?
Correct. Yeah.
How can you ensure that all the classes will have the same data?
Of course, we'll be having a different logics and the different data.
No. Or now different logics. I have a class which says like from account trigger handler, I am calling account
Okay.
name update. So in account name update, I will update account name to new.
Okay.
And there is other class which I'll say description, account name update. I mean description update. In description, I will update account name.
Hmm.
So if I start creating account name with Siva,
Hmm.
account name will be new. What about account description now? Whether it is a new or it is Siva.
New.
Why new? Then you are not passing, right? Technically, you are not passing the updated value. Why it is converting into new? Because trigger.new is something you are using as a static. If any changes to that variable, it will update to the same memory location and any references will have the same data.
Okay. So trigger.new, it will be having the same reference data when they are calling those classes from the trigger.
Exactly. So that is
Okay.
one of the example you can see in multiple cases. Like ideally, when we start debugging a code, the first thing we need to understand how about my memory locations are allocated. That's the first thing. If you have any issues with the data, if logic is executing fine but data is not coming right, that time we need to think about this concept. Is my data is being to the separate transaction or because of the same transaction the data is getting reaffected?
Okay.
Okay, clear?
Yeah.
Now this is
So here, like you have declared as a static. It's a kind of anonymous method, something like that.
this is a block. We don't say this is a method, this is a static block. Let's say you have a variables to be defined. Let's say I need to define my variables. Let's say I define my string name and I'll define my name. If it is so concrete, like you can say Shiva system.debug. Okay, name. And here I'll say name equal to random. Okay, I need to use name, but I use as random. Now what happened? I'm just initializing my variables in a static block. Instead of defining at class level, I just created one block and just made there.
Yeah.
The benefit you will get here, right? You can use ternary operators, conditions, if statements, but at the global level you will not able to use, right?
Correct.
So if you have any logic that you need to update your variable names to Shiva, or if you have any other process that you need to do, you can do inside a block and you can assign a variables.
Yeah.
This is kind of a on-load actions. This is a class load action. This is object load actions inside a class.
Okay.
You got whenever you will create any object, this block will execute. Whenever you call the class anywhere, this block will execute.
Okay. So one time the static block and the this block will be executed, but the second time it will be executed only the second block. The static
Ex-
block it won't be executed
exactly,
secondary.
exactly.
Okay.
Now let's see debug only. Now you can see why your question is right. We have a global variables if you want to write. Let's say I'll define like public static string fn. I'll say okay. Then I want Shiva. Else I want Deepak. Now you have a technique, right? The way you are calling it depends upon the initializing a variable values, default values.
Yeah.
This is very much needed. If you can think of like, if you can see the real use case, whenever you wanted to set like a internal user and external users. When external users come, the default values for the static should be different. So with this type of blocks, you can able to load your variable names dynamically. Dynamically in the sense conditional way.
Yeah. So here I have a question. So line number 6, right?
Yeah,
So we have declared as a name
yeah.
as a lowercase, but line number 6 we are calling like a capital N. So, but it
Okay.
is still
Again,
identifying.
Apex is not a case sensitive. It identifies.
Okay, okay.
So Apex is not a case sensitive. It identifies.
It's a ignore case sensitive.
But it's case sensitive only in Aura components and Lightning Web components. Nowhere else it's a case sensitive.
Okay, okay.
And not only that, if I write a query, let's say select ID, comma name from account, I'll say limit to one first. Okay.
Okay.
Business account is an account name we created. Now let's say where name equal to single quotes. I'll say capital T, I'll say capital C, ESS. So still it returns the same account. I closed it. See,
Okay, it's ignore case sensitive.
it
Okay.
ignore cases. So whenever you are doing a comparison, it always even you can see column names I kept two capital letters and two small letters.
Yeah, it gives the same result.
Yeah. So whenever you wanted to do like comparison of string, then you need to convert explicitly to one case, uppercase or lowercase.
Yeah.
Okay. But string comparison will take the case sensitive, but in the queries it will not accept. So now we need to convert explicitly to uppercase or lowercase before we compare a data.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is clear, right? Why we need a static block now.
Yeah.
The same thing we can have a object block, I mean instance block. Whenever you initialize object, this block will execute, and this can execute more than once. How much? It equal number of your object creation in the transaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it gives like a Deepak if I use
Now,
this.
yeah, it gives Deepak now because we need to pass fn name equal to okay. Then only it's so clear. Any question on this?
No, it's clear.
Okay. Let's understand a few steps. Public public integer. Yeah, I'm just saying average. Public void get you know to declare methods, right?
Deepak?
You know to declare methods, right?
Yeah, we haven't declared.
Okay. Public integer read, yeah, written AV into 2, and here I'll say AV equal to 10. Say this could be interesting. Control AV obj equal to new sample class obj dot read AV. So what is the output here? What will be the output?
Mm, public void. I guess it will be 20.
Why 20? Am I ever invoked this method?
No, we haven't invoked
Now, what is the default value here? AV
null.
default value,
Null.
null. And you are trying to do operation of into 2. You are
It should
trying to
be null.
perform null pointer exception in this case.
Yeah, it gives a null.
Okay. Let's say obj2 equal to new sample class obj2 dot get AV. Now,
Mm, which 2. It should be same null pointer exception. Because of here we are by using obj2 we are calling
now,
maybe null pointer.
now, even now. Still you were expecting it's a null pointer?
I think null pointer.
Well, I have modified in the class also. I made it's not null anymore.
Okay. Now it's not null pointer. It kept 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might be 0, I believe.
It might be 0. Okay, let's say system.debug here only. That would be outcome. I'll say AV product to say. I'll take off this because like there I'm printing. Whatever you get that output, right, that is your return. So it's fine. Now execute. Object to what it is saying.
Execute again.
What happened?
Variable does not exist object 2.
So what is wrong here?
Uh, public integer AV.
Now I declared object 2, but where I defined a data type for this variable.
Data type we have defined on the
We defined for
class.
object. We defined for object variable. What about object 2 variable? Every variable should come with a data type. If there is no data type, you are not allowed to declare a variables.
Okay, but in the class we have defined that, right?
Where the problem here is object 2. So I need to tell to system what is this object 2 refers to. Whether it is a
Okay.
string or it's a class or it's some other class, I don't know, right? We need to tell to a system. So ideally, how this should go? You got it. This is how we can create
Okay.
objects, right? Or
Yeah.
if you interested to create an object, then you need to say obj sample class. Let me take this little above, one step forward, and I'll say. Okay. Now, what is the output?
obj dot get AV. Okay, it will be mapped. Then obj new sample class. Again, it will be 20.
Seriously? The value is
Uh,
0.
okay, we're initializing again like a
We are
new obj.
recreating a memory. We are re-referencing to a memory location. Whenever it get a new memory location, what about the instance variable? They get a new memory allocations.
Okay.
So if I refer to this class, then this will be 10. If I refer to a different location, then my value will be defaulted to the default values.
Oh, it will reinitialize.
Yes.
Okay.
Now let's say sample class. Otherwise, I'll say this and I'll say sample class. Now this could be little more confusing, but let's say reference. This now
Okay. Created reference.tv 0
line number.
20. Okay, attempt to re-reference a null object.
What happened? What
Attempt
happened now?
to,
Because it reinitialized, it becomes null, right?
yeah.
Now, what about now?
Okay, public static sample reference. Mm, now it is. Uh, okay, it will call that. So this one I'm not sure. Like a
Okay. So let's say this is a static, right? It means that this will
correct.
be fixed and it will never be changed until we modify it.
Yeah.
But when this get a value, whenever I'm calling get AV, and what I'm passing this means I'm passing this object, this memory location,
Okay.
and I'm fixing that memory location. Next time I'm calling read AV from a different memory location, but still I'm using the old memory location.
Hmm. Hmm.
So in old memory location, the expectation of AV is 10 and into product to 20. Understood this? It's little confusing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So first thing I would like to understand, like the reference means we are creating the.
Understand. This refers to the object.
Okay.
If this is the instance block, and you cannot use this inside a static, you can use this keyword only inside a non-static methods or a constructors.
Okay.
When
Hmm.
you say this means this object, complete object.
Okay. What are the values it will be having in
It
the
will
object?
have in that only. Even though you create multiple objects, you can store those attributes. Those are references here directly.
So the line number 4, right? So what it means actually?
Okay, here I am saying reference. I'm creating one object, I'm assigning that object to here. Sample class, the data. Whatever the data you have at a global class level variables, right? That will be
Hmm.
stored under this memory object.
Okay.
At
Okay.
that particular time, whatever you are assigning, that will remain slave. like that only. It will not change.
Okay, okay. Now I got it. So reference equal to this means whenever it is calling from the object dot get AV, then it will reinitialize all those values in the global values to the reference.
Is
Then
exactly.
reference again we're calling on the read AV. So in the read AV it will be having the 10 because of already we have assigned in the get AV 10.
Yep,
So then in the read AV 10 into 220.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, tell me one thing. Where you exactly find the difference between the procedure language and object language in this?
Uh, what is another procedure language?
Procedure oriented or object oriented, right?
Okay.
By taking this method, if it is a procedure oriented, how the method looks. If it is object oriented, how this method is looking. Generally, what we need to store in the reference, after updating my AV, then only I need to store my reference, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, see, I am assigning my reference first and then I am updating because it is an object, right? It never matters if I write first or if I write last.
So if you commented the 16 line,
Sorry. If I comment 16 line, then AV remains 0, right?
no. So I mean like a 17 line. If you not assign like a this,
Yep. Then the outcome is 0. Or first of all, you will get null pointer exception because there is no object here. This reference is
what?
null, right? Hello?
Oh, okay. Now I got it. Okay. So okay, it will be initialized with the null. So okay, we have to assign with the this. Then only it will be having the
Yeah.
global values.
Global values at this object level. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Now the value, if we execute this, it will be 0.
If I execute this without this, then it is a null pointer exception. No, you are
Yeah.
saying with uncommented and executing. That what you mean?
Yeah.
But again, you are doing mistake, buddy. Okay, still the answer is 20. It's not 0.
But here, when we are calling get AV, so it
First
is
we are
assigning like, yeah.
10 and we are ascending. So ideally what it means, even this AV is an instance or a static. Which element? Non-static or a static?
It's a non-static.
Whenever you are calling a non-static elements or non-static members, then by system you can imagine always this as a this dot AV. This is
Okay.
how compiler understand the code at the backend when it is executing.
Okay.
But this is your, let's say you have a pen drive. You just insert it in your computer and you are trying to do a file transfers, okay?
Hmm.
Understand, you are copying from folder 1 to a pen drive. And meanwhile, you also copied some data from folder to do this pen drive, right? So what happened? Which memory is consuming now? To the same memory, right? To the same pen drive memory only. It's not taking something else.
Yes,
The
correct.
reference is your pen drive. Whatever you change before or you change after, it doesn't really matter. Finally, it is going to store inside this only. That this we are capturing at a reference point.
Okay.
If
Okay.
it is a procedure oriented, you need to write assignment first and then you need to take that reference to your variable. But because this is object oriented, first you will be assigning a reference and then you are taking a value. Anything is fine. That's what I mean. So you should be more concise about your concept, how your data is being shown, and how your non-static and static members are getting organized.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make you more clear now. Account ACC equal to, you know, account objects, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. ACC dot name equal to Shiva account acc2 equal to acc2 dot name equal to Deepak system dot debug acc name. So what is the output here?
Shiva.
Seriously, it's Deepak. You understand this?
Okay.
The problem here is you have an object. Let's say, let me go to draw.io. Okay, I have here
Okay.
and I'm here. So let's say this is a heap and this is a stack block. Okay. Whenever class load the compiler, whenever compiler loads, this is like class loading.
So heap means like a running memory.
Yeah, running memory.
Okay. Stack means like stored one.
Stored one. So
Okay.
here static block, static elements will be declared,
Okay.
will be assigned. This is the first step and there will be no more statics. Whenever I'm initializing object of step 2, right, I'm creating an object of account AC, right?
Yeah.
Here I am defining my AC equal to new account. What this means, it creates an object in this location. It creates an object in this location with a AC, with all the details like name, whatever it have a
Yes.
properties. Now in the next step, what I did, what's the variable that I use? AC2. Yeah. AC2 equal to AC. So what I'm saying AC2 equal to AC. So it means I'm pointing to the same location now. Even though if I update any variable here, updating is happening to the same memory. Even if I update here, update is happening to the same memory. Let's think about your Google Drive. Even if you upload file from your phone or you are trying to upload from your desktop, it reflects in the same account, right? Same place.
Yeah.
So this is how it is happening here. Even though I am updating ac2.name, but straight away it is using the same memory. So I ultimately it is updating the same object.
Okay.
This is called pass by reference. Whenever you say pass by reference, whenever the assignment is happened, then the memory address will be assigned. It locates to the same memory.
Okay. So here, okay, the object reference we are mapping to the account to.
Yeah.
So now account to always it is mapping to the
Yes.
ACC.
So ideally, technically, they say they are sharing the same memory, same location.
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
So you never get a doubt. Whenever you are writing a triggers for, and I'll say account A colon records, and we'll say all of a sudden A dot name, and we'll update, and we'll leave as it is thinking that this will update automatically. How this will update? Record is coming from different variable and account is coming from different variable. Now, even though you are updating, it is updating to the same record. The reason behind these two, A and record is sharing same memory location at this particular point of time.
Yeah.
The same thing is there
Okay.
inside a for loop. I just kept outside for loop. That's it.
Okay. Okay. If you update the A dot name, obviously the record
Value will get updated in that particular
value will
element.
be. Yeah. Yeah.
The same thing happening here also. Clear? Any questions?
No. So now it will print as a
It's not done.
okay.
Now, what will be the output?
Okay, now Deepak.
Seriously? Still, Deepak? It's Siva.
No, no. Okay, the name we are taking that there and we are assigning. Okay, so now let me understand. Okay, you have created like a two references, two
Yep.
account references.
Yes.
Okay, then account.name equal to Shiva. From here it is clear. Then the account to dot name equal to account dot name. That means Shiva is going to be mapped to the account to dot name. But
Y-
again, account to dot name you are mapping with a Deepak.